I just text.
There we go. Can you hear us now?
All right, can you hear us now?
All right, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sorry about that. Next, item is the presentation by the web developer. So that's Andy we got here. So Andy, we're gonna turn it over to you. If you could give him presentation privileges, make sure he's able to present.
Are we good?
You can present. If you go down to the present button at the bottom. The arrow, it should give you a setting to. I'm sorry, share button, click that arrow. Yep, and then advance, and then make sure that all participants, there you go. All right, Andy, you should have privileges to be able to present now, if you want to bring anything up on the screen.
Okay, well, 1 second here. All right, so I will start sharing in 1 second. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, you can.
Okay, first I just want to say thank you very much for inviting us to be a part of your evening. So my name is Andy Graves and I'm head of sales for Worship Times. We are a web developer that I represent Worship Times, which are the main side of the company that I deal with, are ministry websites. We have another side of the company called Pokeyoke Designs that does non-ministry websites. So this is so tonight I will be presenting to you a couple of example sites for what we've done for our non-ministry sites. I will say that a lot of the functionality that goes into our ministry sites obviously is also applicable in a non-church environment. So what I'm going to do is I want to just very quickly tell you we have been in web development business for 15 or 16 years. We have, I'm going to say, more than 300 clients around the country. We can do everything from very standard basic sites all the way up to enormously complex custom sites. And so I want to use most of our time here this evening answering y'all's questions. But before we get to those questions, I just wanted to kind of just give you a quick tour of some of these sites so you can kind of get a feel for what our sites look like. Is everyone able to see the Simstone site? Is that showing up okay? Okay.
Yes.
So these are concrete folks, and so there's only so much excitement that goes into concrete. But anyhow, you can see that we have include lots of compelling imagery and do all that we can. We're our focus is to make each site that we develop, we try to build user stories into the process so that whoever is coming to the site, obviously in your case, be your constituents, you want to make it so that it's easy to find the content that you need so that you can be able to do the business that you need to do with the site that you're dealing with. So this site here is, let's see here. I'll just click through the menu so you can see that these are very complex, large sites that have lots of databases and whatnot behind them to keep track of services and goods and all that. We can build, form workflows, which could probably be very important for y'all's use cases. Let me come down here to think this. Sorry, the recording button is blocking my ability to click this next tab there. So here's another preserve of Mayerwood. You can again get a feel for, you know, our build process is we do all of the buildings. We are a WordPress shop, and that's, you know, I think last I heard about 48% of the internet is built on the WordPress engine. What is wonderful about that is it is all open source development. So all the coding that we do, you know, is free and open source. So, you know, it's yours to use and go forward into the future. Whether we're, you know, we would hope to be, you know, have a long-term relationship with you guys. But if something happens, you know, your code is open source and freely portable to wherever you want to go. Let's see here. I'm just kind of giving you, just like I'm showing you, like some, rather than get into all the, if there's anything on these sites that you want me to get a little bit deeper into, I'm happy to do that. The main thing I'm trying to do here is just kind of give you a quick tour through the car lot to see the various look and feel for our sites. So our build process is we do all of the building for you. We will assign a developer and a designer to work on our team, and we usually work with one or two representatives for whoever our client is, and we will you know, guide you through the entire process. We don't presume that our clients have any level of technical knowledge at all. If you do, that's wonderful, that's awesome. We'll certainly use that in the build process, but we certainly don't expect folks to have any of that when you come to the table. We will have an initial meeting, a needs assessment meeting, where our developer will sit down with your team and we'll plot out the whole process. Usually sites, you know, take anywhere from 2 to 4 months to develop and get launched. The process is communication flows freely throughout the entire process. We will usually set up a communication workflow. We'll meet as often as possible. Usually for our builds, it's 1 or 2 times a week in which, you know, we'll meet with you guys. We'll get some ideas of content that you want to use, and then we will go and our developers will build the site, put the content in place, and then we will show it to you. And then you can say, hey, I like this, I don't like this so much. And it's an iterative process. We go page by page. We start with the site navigation plan, start with the home page, and then we go through all the various landing pages from there. We have WordPress has a plugin for just about a plugin or a tool for just about every single thing that you can imagine: forms workflows, calendar workflows, live streaming, all the bells and whistles that you could possibly want. We also have the ability, our developers do, that is, to develop custom plugins. So that's not a problem either. If we come and encounter a situation where there's not just the perfect tool out there, we have the ability to develop those tools as need be. So let's see, that is, I don't want to spend a ton of time looking at these sites. If anybody has any questions about these sites, I'm certainly more than happy to dig deeper into these. But I want to respect y'all's time, and I really want to spend most of my time here just answering questions that you guys might have. So with that in mind, please feel free to start asking whatever questions. I know that one of the things that you guys were asking about is our sites easily, you know, how easy is it for them to be administered by the end user? That will be you folks. WordPress is very, so I don't exactly know where this site will end up, but as you guys may or may not know, WordPress works with various themes, and usually what we try to do is pick a theme that matches the technical level of comfort with the client. So we don't want to put you on a theme that has too many bells and whistles that it becomes an unsustainable thing to manage. So we also don't want to put you in a theme that doesn't have enough functionality for what you need. But most all of the website updating is simple, drag and drop editors. If any of you have experience using Wix or Squarespace or any of those, pretty much all of these sites have similar functionality in how they build sites. We will train you on how to update your site. We will host your site for you. And if anything ever goes wrong, or you have the ability to file a ticket from the back end of the site, and we will respond very quickly within 24 business hours of the request, often much faster than that. We have an inventory of training videos. We have an inventory of manuals for your use. It's really, as I said, we don't want this to be a heavy lift for any of our clients. So one of the benefits that you get from us is you don't, if heaven forbid the site were to go down, our sites almost never ever go down, but when they do, you don't have to worry about any of those things. We'll be there to take care of it for you. But we host all of our sites on our own networks. We do multiple daily backups to virtual servers and to physical servers. Our physical servers are in Iowa, and we have have been doing this for a long time. So there's pretty much, we pretty much got all the kinks worked out of the process by now. So let's see, I don't have access to, I have too many windows open right now, I'm sorry to say. I'm working from home this evening, and I'm not in my home office. So my screen is a little bit smaller than I'm used to. But I think that those are the main three questions that were presented to me beforehand. But now let me just throw open the floor to conversation, and you guys just ask me whatever questions that you might have.
Andy, my question is, who handles the security so that bad actors don't try to bring down our website?
We will take care of that for you. So we use Cloudflare to and firewall the back end of your site. We have never had any of our sites get compromised or anything like that. The only issues that we ever have is if one of our clients, for whatever reason, loses control of their site because they they didn't pay their internet registrar bill for whatever reason. And sometimes when that happens, the site will go down, and a bad actor will, they sit and wait for these sites to expire. And as soon as they do, once they are able to, they will jump on those. But we've never had any of our sites hacked. That's one of the things that we really prioritize. So we don't want you to lose any sleep over that at all. We will take care of making certain that everything is kept very secure. I am not a developer. Michael Guerra, who is the president and founder of our company, he is a top-tier developer, and any technical questions that you guys have, and Michael is sorry that he's not able to join us here this evening. Any technical questions that you have, I can gather them tonight, and I will be happy to share them back with the group but tomorrow. If you have a technical question about what the actual tools that we have in place, I can tell you that they are safe, but I can't get into the technical details of that simply because I'm not a developer. But I can assure you that everything will be safe and taken care of.
Thank you.
How easy is it to load documents, files, and move them around in the site?
That's no problem at all. So one thing that is an important thing to have with your site is you don't want to store on your website a bunch of documents or a bunch of videos or whatever, because the performance of your site will be compromised. If you have a bunch of content like that that's stored in your site, every time your site loads, it has to load all that content as well. So normally what we ask folks to do is to have an Amazon S3 account or a Dropbox or a Google Drive or something like that where you store your actual content, and we will just use your site to point to where it is, so that your site, if you need to access some committee reports, that is no problem at all. But we will not host the reports themselves on your site or store the reports themselves on your site. We will just create a link to the repository or create a workflow that we go and pull whatever it is from the Dropbox and pull it into the website. So, but content management is a priority for us, and we have a publications tool that helps keep all of this information organized and easy to understand. It also enables you to deploy the same content to multiple places on your site without having to put the content multiple places on your site. Our publications tool has the ability to put stuff wherever you need it to go, without having to create duplicate instances of it on your site.
Any other questions before?
Do you know
Sure.
what kind of traffic that your example sites typically see?
I do not know the typical traffic load on these sites. I will tell you, we've never had, whenever we're in a situation where our sites are going to get a lot of traffic, we will ramp up our servers capability. We just did, another one of our clients is a group of licensed therapists in Tennessee, and they just had their annual conference where I think 1,000 or so folks gathered in one place. So we knew that the server was going to get hit pretty hard. So we just upped the server capacity for that, and we had zero downtime during that at all. But I can certainly get you some statistics for these sites and their average visitors, but I've never heard anything about any of our sites suffering because of getting too much traffic.
Andy, as part of your services, do you provide advice in terms of what content should look like? So for example, to ensure that our residents, when they Google something that our site comes up more higher than others, so they know that we're available for services.
Absolutely. So you're talking about SEO there, and so SEO, as all of you or some of you may know, is of critical importance to making certain that your site returns or scores highly when people do web searches. And so what we will do during the build process, we will ensure that we're using all of the best practices so Google's search algorithm, it's a mystery as to exactly how it works. But there are tools, there are plugins that we use that do the best job that it can to sort of anticipate what it is that Google is looking for. And a lot of this is common knowledge. So we will make certain that the best way to improve your SEO is well, you can pay for it obviously, but we'll set that aside for a moment, is have people use your site. And so the more folks go to your site and find the content that they're looking for, and in order to make that happen, we would consider, like, what are people coming to your site to look for, and what phrases might they use when they're searching for that? Well, we want to make certain that your site can directly answer those questions. So we will incorporate those phrases, those key pieces of information in your welcoming text. We'll make certain that all of your imagery has the proper alt text tags that Google is looking for, and make certain that your headers are what the Google search engine is looking for, and really all the sort of little, what seem to a normal person kind of like nitpicky things, Google very much values. Well, we know what those are, and we'll build those into your site as a part of the build process. And we'll share that information with you so that, you guys will, as I said, you'll take over your site at the end of the build process. But that doesn't mean we stop, being partners with you. So if you have ongoing questions about, well, our traffic seems to be going down, we'll be happy to consult with you again about, it seems like some of this your header text is changed here, or this image is in a format that it's an HEIC format and Google is looking for a JPEG. We can help you eliminate all of these things that can penalize you in your search engine rankings, and therefore just rise as high as you possibly can organically. Given the level of services that you do, I mean, you are, unlike a lot of our other clients, you guys have something of a monopoly on the services that you offer. And so people will generally, will be driven to your site because of their needs. We just want to make certain that the site is built to make it as easy as possible for folks to find what it is that they're looking for. And we will do that as part of the build process. We will sit down with you and we'll say, okay, what kind of business are folks looking to do with your site? And then we will, create breadcrumb trails so they can very quickly get to where they're going. And we will prioritize what if there are 3 or 4 use cases that most folks are coming to your site for. We want to prioritize that on your site so the largest number of folks can get the answers as quick as possible, and then we'll triage down from there. We'll put all of the content there, but we'll organize the content in a way that matches the needs of your customers, your clients.
So Andy, people come to our website for information, but also they might need to report that there's an overgrown yard or there's a road problem or something like that. So is there a mechanism for doing that? And some of those things would be highway department and some would be township. So could those things get routed to the right person?
Absolutely. So a site like yours, I mean, we would build a pretty complex forms workflow into a site like this. And so absolutely we could, as folks come in, they need to report a pothole or whatever other business case that they would need. You can absolutely route these requests in whatever way, makes sense. So some of the requests stay internally. Obviously, we can route it to whatever department needs to have that. Alternatively, you can also route stuff to external sources. That's no problem at all. And the form workflow can be, very complex, and it can be multiple stages, and you can build signature sign-offs into the workflow. It can be pretty much any sort of configuration that you can dream of, we can build. But we also want to be mindful of the fact that we don't want to create workflows that are difficult for folks to follow. So we build these workflows all the time. And so we can bring a fresh set of eyes to this process, simply because, we don't work in local government. So we can bring I guess the eyes of someone who I'm searching for a way to say this, that's not anything that we're overly familiar with. We can put up with some frustration, and we don't, because we're familiar with it, so we're used to that. We don't want your customers to ever experience anything like that. And since we will be newbies, we'll be able to help you. Oh, this feels like kind of a friction point for me. We will work with you to eliminate as many of those friction points as we possibly can during the building.
Thanks for that, Andy.
Sure.
We just had our video feed went down, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. We're trying to troubleshoot it.
Oh, no worries.
Other questions?
Yeah, I could throw a question at you. So this one is hypothetical, and if the answer is yes, it would likely be well down the line. So I heard you talking about something like a counseling conference and over 1,000 people were attending. So that led me to think, so, in terms of like different types of telemental health, so we're gonna be doing some mental health services down the line here and talking a little bit about telemental health. Would your website have the capacity, HIPAA compliance, all that good type of stuff? If we were to have a portal connected to that somehow, some way for residents, again, down the line.
Yes, I believe that we can, and I will ask that question of our developers, but I have yet to see as use case that we cannot account for. So I will say that, so we don't normally have to deal with HIPAA considerations, but we do have to deal with, privacy and financial security a lot of times with our ministry sites. And so we are very aware of the need to build those sorts of protections in there. And I can assure you that we would vet that process very thoroughly to make certain that we were following any sort of HIPAA regulations that were necessary. Something like that would be, when we're tackling something like that, we want to make certain that we're very clear with our clients, because that would probably be, we would treat that as a quote, a sprint, if you will. And so we want to make certain that when we're doing a sprint for a special project, like putting in this portal, telehealth portal, we would want to meet with you guys, identify exactly what your needs are, identify what tool it is that you have selected, and then we will work with the technical team for whatever vendor that you select to make certain that we can tie securely into whatever APIs they have. I'm not certain exactly how the handshake would take place there, but we would absolutely ensure that we followed any security need, any privacy need. We would absolutely take care of that.
Okay, so kind of build in like through another like website that already does this. Like, so Doxy.me is a pretty popular one for telemental health, due to HIPAA compliance and so on. So you would essentially connect into something like that with our website is how it would work.
Yeah, so the sites that we're building, these are, a website is open by design, and so you want to, obviously we can put security, and we do put securities in place because we don't want we don't want anybody to be able to come in and edit your site. So we do, obviously have credentials to get in to edit the site, but it is a website. So a website is not going to have the level of security built into it just as it comes. It would require, partnering with a company that does build in those sorts of securities into their code base. And that is not a level of expertise that we have. We work with companies that provide that all the time, and that's the way we want to keep it, because we would never want to put, we're very cautious even about putting like directory information on sites, given the fact that they get scraped and, people get, will use that information to try to take advantage of priests or whatever by acting like they're a parishioner making a request. So we're very keen to security at that level, and that's something that we can control. We're very well aware of, like, a website like what we're building for you is not going to have that kind of security built into it by design. We would partner with a company, in this case, by one that you would have identified, that has that security, and we would just ensure that the communication between your site and that vendor would be as seamless as possible for your users, because by the same token, we don't want to create too much of a disruptive experience for your customers. And if you're sending people, off of your site to other sites, it can be a little bit confusing of a user experience. So we try to do what we can to, oftentimes you can style that, for example, like a giving portal. So you can style the giving portal so it looks like your website, but it's on PayPal site, or it's on Venmo site or whatever. But you can style it a little bit so it feels like it's a part of your site, but it has all the security of that's banked, the bank level encryption that would be necessary for that sort of information.
All right, that was a thoughtful response. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions? All right, Andy, just to give you a heads up, the way we're doing this, we're just speaking to several vendors. We spoke to some last month and we're gonna continue to do so. And then once we have timeline expectations, we'll be reaching out back to everybody to let you know where we stand and opportunities for bidding on the program.
That sounds great. And thank you so much for this time with you all tonight. If anybody has any follow-up questions, please shoot them to me and I'd be more than happy to answer them. If anybody has any more technical questions that I was not able to field here tonight, I'll be happy to send it to our team of nerds and they'll be able to give you a much more technical answer than I was able to do here tonight.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Have a great rest of your
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. All right, bye-bye.
All right. Next item on the agenda, approval resolution number 25-11-R. It's the drug and alcohol policy for PACE program. Can I get a motion to approve, please? Someone on a second? Second. All right, Glowiak and Klein. Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit of background about these next two resolutions. As you all know, PACE, the transportation provider here, covering the greater Chicagoland suburbs. What they have an opportunity for is municipalities and partners to essentially lease buses from them. And when I say buses, these are more like 12-passenger van types of vehicles. These vehicles come at a very low cost to the folks who are leasing it. So these buses actually only cost $100 a month to the township. The reason we're looking at this is because this would provide us opportunities for a few things. One, I know our senior committee is hoping to pick up some programming, so this is one option for transportation that is very economical compared to renting out a bus to go places, which could literally be, two trips could cost what would be essentially our lease fee for a whole year, right? That's one area. Another, as Matt was alluding to earlier, is we are looking at opportunities and grants for expanding our programming here at the township. Transportation can be a big barrier for a lot of folks in accessing services. So it improves our competitiveness when we are going after these grants to say that if there is a barrier to transportation, that we are able to provide transportation to access services. So as a result of our interest in becoming part of that PACE municipal vehicle program, they have two policies that they ask all municipalities and partners to adopt. One is the drug and alcohol policy, which is this first resolution, and the second is regarding security and emergency preparedness. These are standard procedures and policies that they require everyone to adopt. These do not inhibit our operation or flow for the rest of the township. This is exclusive to our transportation program. And it's pretty much you do it this way or you do not have access to the program. The reason it's one of the reasons that the cost is actually so low is because they say if you abide strictly by our policies and the way that we want you to manage your transportation staff and the security for our vehicles, then we are willing to give you this at basically an extremely subsidized rate. So that's where those are. I'm actually going to turn it over to Angel Contreras for a moment to talk a little bit about what implementation looked like for these programs in other townships. We are not the only township that would be doing this. There are other townships as well. And one such township is Joliet Township that Angel can speak to.
Yeah, so, hi everyone, good evening. So this program are unique to PACE's service area. It's one of the least taken advantage programs actually in their entire service area. Not many people are aware that a municipality, a school or a township, city, county can actually lease these vehicles for only $100 a month. With that though, I think our clerk has the documentation there. It's a federal grant that PACE has been administering for decades through this. You have to adhere to every single one of their policies, otherwise you do not have the opportunity to even acquire these vehicles. They're very stringent. Every single person that is going to be a part of a driver for these has to go through, it's a 2-week training through PACE. So they will be taught and the compliance through everything that is passed today. So it's not just here, township board passed it, you guys are good. No, every single person that steps behind the wheel of that vehicle has to go through all their training. They also only offer their trainings only X amount of days during the month. So if you skip, this process can get longer. So it's good to get ahead of these things so we can begin services. As everything goes well, you're looking at about 3 months out. God bless you. You're looking at about 3 months out still to even get like the first vehicle and even the first driver ready. Another caveat to this, because I know all of you here are interested in expanding services to the township. One of the other blessings of this is if the vision of the township and any other organization that has the same mission within the township, the township itself can sign off vehicles for other organizations that are for public interest. So because of this, even if you only have one vehicle, if you have other behavioral health entities, other senior entities, anything, there is transportation gaps for all types of services. The township can actually sign off for them to get their own vehicles, and the township wouldn't have any liability whatsoever. You just do an extended partnership. So this is one of the most least utilized programs that can actually help literally county-wide, not only for yourself, but for other community partners as well. The one thing you cannot do is charter. You cannot be a charter bus organization. You can for what we're talking about for our seniors, because they're ours, right? But then you can't just be doing charters like, oh, so-and-so Little League needs to take it. It's very public health, public oriented. That is the vision for this also. So they do have limits. The next step, I'll be doing the actual application, and you guys will be seeing the scope of how Wheatland will, and we'll be taking everyone's input, but you can always revise those things, but the best bet would be for Wheatland to the township to get the first vehicle as soon as possible. It's super easy to amend things. The hardest part is getting it started. But again, this will be a tool that the township will have to actually provide services just with various types of community and public health, public safety entities.
And that's substantial.
And then one follow-up on this with regards to cost. It's at our discretion if we want to charge our residents for use of the vehicles, or if we want to charge them a smaller nominal fee. There is a cap on how much we could charge, but it's up to us to determine whether we want to do that. I've seen, I know in Joliet Township, for example, what they'll do is they'll manage the bus, but they'll partner with certain organizations, and rides that are scheduled by that organization, they'll take care of it, especially in the public health side of things, and then they'll bill those rides directly to those not-for-profits, or they can determine if they want to just offer those kind of for free as well. So I thought this is a great opportunity, one, again, for us to improve our competitiveness with regards to our grant applications, two, to kind of fill in any gaps as we are expanding our services to make sure people have access. But then three, becoming a resource for our community partners here within the township, or those who serve our township, should they need assistance with transportation as well. So I think it's one of those things where once we get it on board, then we kind of start marketing it to our community partners so that they're aware as well.
And then as Supervisor Croner is saying, I'm sure all of you are part of different organizations, right? All these organizations have their own kind of sort of transport. Sometimes they even use rideshare and they're paying for it anyway. You can literally insert yourself to still getting paid through those things. Community organizations, they're paying, they don't use their own transport. So you can fill that gap and actually be compensated to provide those rides for those people in that public health, public safety, public good space. So you're pretty much becoming your own, specialized service for this. And this wouldn't be one of those things that'd be just open to the public, because you would go bankrupt if you tried the need, but it'd be services, just agreements with entities that you would provide transportation for. So I don't wanna get ahead of myself, but there are ways to narrow this down, stabilize it, but you'd be making a greater impact. There's other organizations that have, townships that have done this and organizations that they partner with. They've had whatever their treatment is, or transport rates or whatever, like over 90% people go into whatever treatment because they stabilize this form of transportation. It's one of the, I would say, least advertised or least taken advantage of efforts from all of our municipalities county-wide. Big, massive public health impact. So, kudos to you guys for taking on this initiative this way.
Yes.
So what are the additional costs? I mean, obviously you have to pay a driver, and insurance.
Yes.
So what kind of a budget are we looking at for that?
So once we get through this process, we would then go about amending our current budget. We would get the updated figures because we would have to check with our current insurance provider, right, who already insures our vehicles as far as the added cost for this. The drivers, that would likely be part-time, right, drivers in the beginning as we're scaling up the program. The other costs, we're essentially responsible for the maintenance of the vehicle and the insurance on the vehicle, and the driver of the vehicle. So, plus the $100 per month lease fee. So that's one of the pieces that as we go down towards approval, that's where we would discuss on the budget side, making that amendment to incorporate the cost of the PACE vehicle. So I don't have the exact number right now. And I can get some of those figures from some of the other townships that are already utilizing this program, Joliet and Plainfield Township being two close by examples. But this, yeah, we would be amending the budget before we get to a final contract with this. This just allows us to kind of get the application process started to begin with. They don't accept an application without these resolutions already on board. And I don't think we would go towards executing until, you know, we bring that full final contract before the board, which would then also include consideration of costs for that as well.
Supervisor Crowler, will the bus be ADA
Yes,
accessible?
yes. So the way the PACE program works is you can get several vehicles, but they require that your first vehicle be an ADA accessible vehicle with a ramp.
That's great.
So the first vehicle, and then you can get as many of those as you would like. I think those are a little bit limited as well in how many they have, but you are able to order more than one. But if you want to have multiple vehicles, at a minimum, you have to have one ADA vehicle with a ramp, and that's always gonna be the first vehicle you purchase from them.
Now, would the vehicle be housed here or?
Yes, yes, we would be hosting it on site here.
Oh, good.
What are the terms for the lease? Should we not, we wish not to do it anymore, things don't work out, you know what I mean, cause you're leasing their vehicle, right?
Oh, as far as like the term of the lease, the length?
There is no, you can literally terminate.
Month to
anytime.
month.
You can terminate everything.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, I was just saying if we push forward with this program. and
Yeah,
then we
so
decide-
the good thing is, like, it's good to maintain the one, because even if you don't drive it, you're able to pivot back up, right? You can actually add and subtract vehicles as you want, literally month to month.
It's cool. I like
So
this.
let's say you have something that you have a summer programs that are, you can request, that, hey, I need 4 more vehicles. You just have to have the right ratio of drivers, so, you know, you have to prepare, they allow the flexibility within their limits. And if you wanna scale down, you scale down, there's no penalties, I mean, this is, there's a lot of paperwork, but as far as, the flexibility, you're not gonna find anything like this.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, to get underutilized.
Another thing to just note as well is in some of the grants that we have been writing, we've actually also been incorporating costs for transportation. So it's not, it'll at least partially be covered by a grant, if not completely covered, depending on the grant that we apply for.
So in the language in 2511R, section 2 scope, says this applies to all employees, particularly those related to this policy. But in the 2512R, it says clearly, this is all employees participating in the PACE program. that feels like clearer language than the first one.
Okay,
Um,
so we can modify. So then, how about we do this? So I'm gonna motion to approve. I'm sorry, motion to amend
amend.
section 2, scope.
The 12R or 11?
We're working on 2511 right now.
Okay.
But I think it should read the way it reads in
Yes.
in 12.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll do exactly that. So I'm gonna motion to amend section 2 scope to read as follows. This policy shall apply to all employees, volunteers, contract facilities and operations of the Wheatland Township government participating in PACE program.
Yeah.
Can I get a
Okay.
second to approve that amendment?
Second.
All right. Can you do a roll call on that amendment, please?
Trustee Francis,
yes.
trustee, Klein,
Yes.
trustee Gillier,
Yes.
trustee Tyson,
Yes.
supervisor Crowner.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Any additional? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna house them in the garage, right?
We would have to check with the policy if it would be required in the garage, but I.
The requirement is just that they're on camera, they have to be on camera,
Yeah,
they could be.
that is
on-
my understanding.
Technically, they are a township vehicle, technically they are. But state statute says they have to be undercover, all township vehicles. So we just have to figure out how we're gonna fit them in and moving things around.
I don't necessarily think that's correct, because you have multiple townships or leave them out, especially they're like DuPage, all their vehicles are out, Schaumburg, the main ones, like, I know, Hanover, where they're the MTA, like the run.
Hanover's fleet of buses are out in a parking lot.
Yeah, and they are the head of the majority of the, like, protocols for the majority of the townships up here in the suburbs. And then that wasn't, one of the, stipulations there, but we can double check, but, for sure, it has to be on camera at all times when it's parked for case. Even for township, like, that is a thing, they have to be on camera, otherwise, then you're not in compliance, if something goes wrong.
This is just one of the agreements.
Yeah.
That's the second one.
It's not like
about-
copies for everybody, that's
So
one.
My other question is about the supersession, section 5 in each of these. Because it says this supersedes any other policies that the township has related to, in this case, drug and alcohol or emergency preparedness. Like we were just talking about that, I mean, last month, about the emergency preparedness policy, so whatever the township had in place for emergency preparedness no longer applies.
For the vehicle program.
Then it needs to say
Okay,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
Correct.
Cause this makes it sound like the whole township set of policies about emergencies no longer applies.
Okay, you want a motion, you wanna make an motion and an amendment?
To amend to say,
Wanna add at the end for transportation
for
programs?
transportation programs.
Okay, I'll second that motion. I can do a roll call on that amendment, please.
Trustee Francis,
Yes,
trustee Klein,
Yes.
trustee Gillier,
Yes.
trustee Tyson.
Yes.
Supervisor Crowner.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
thank you.
Final comments before we move on to actual roll call over the amended resolution? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Trustee Francis.
Yes,
Trustee Klein,
Yes.
trustee Gillier,
Yes.
trustee Tyson,
Yes.
supervisor Crowner.
Yes. Okay, so I know we have a couple of amendments to this resolution as well, or it would just be the one, correct? Supersession?
and scope. Oh, no, scope is
Scope is
correct.
what we
So-
adopted from the.
Yeah. we're-
So, no, that's correct, so
Okay.
it's just the supervisor.
So then I'm gonna move to amend the super session, section 5. To read at the end for transportation programs.
Second,
You do a roll call on that amendment, please.
Trustee Francis.
yes,
Trustee Klein,
Yes.
trustee Gillier,
Yes.
trustee Tyson,
Yes.
trustee, or supervisor Crowner.
Yes. Okay, now this one, I know that this was a much longer policy where, as you guys can see there. Again, this isn't something that's being taken effective today or even tomorrow. This is several months down the line for us to get to. But again, it's an all or nothing kind of policy with PACE, if this is the route that we're interested in going down. So just because it's been attorney reviewed by all of PACE and numerous townships and municipalities and organizations all across the state, I'm comfortable with moving forward with it. If you all want to postpone this for you to have a chance to read the full 200-page document, that's I'm open to it, but I'll gonna take the pulse of the trustees on this.
Well,
I noticed, why doesn't it specifically talk about the CDL drivers?
Mhm.
Shouldn't it be narrowed down to them because the drug and alcohol, because they're the drivers, the CDL drivers?
Mhm. So the drug and alcohol policy applies to the employees of the transportation program. So that would be, employees would be the drivers. And this program, we're doing the same for 2512. This is policies exclusive to the transportation program.
we
So
just edited that.
Yeah.
Didn't say that.
Yeah, so it's not gonna apply, so this isn't gonna impact the operations for the highway department, this isn't gonna impact the operations for the remainder of the township. This is exclusive for our to be built transportation program and transportation team.
But could we get? Like, I don't want that. But I do want the electronic version where the links work,
Okay,
because I couldn't open any of the links in that second document.
No,
so, because I think the links would take you to other pages within the document, right?
Right, so
Yeah.
it's like, here's this policy and you click it and nothing happens.
Yeah,
So it couldn't review that. I mean, I agree, this has been vetted
Mhm.
and it is only for these drivers. But
I had to go to the website to open it. I
Mhm.
couldn't open it through my
I mean,
email.
yeah,
And the PDF,
right.
okay, so you guys wanna table this to next month?
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. Can we get a motion to table?
So moved.
Second,
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Francis,
yes.
trustee Glenn,
Yes.
trustee Gloria,
Yes.
trustee Kaiser,
Yes,
supervisor Cronin.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, approval of bills and claims. Can I get a motion to approve the town and road district fund bills and claims?
So moved.
All right, I can pull these up in my computer as well. Any questions on the bills before moving on to roll call? No, all right, roll call, please.
Trustee Francis,
Yes.
trustee Glenn,
Yes.
trustee Gloria,
Yes.
trustee Tyson,
yes,
supervisor Cronin.
Yes, moving on to reports, senior administrator Bill Gray.
I did learn something within the last 2 weeks. If you don't know, the supervisor's office handles the grass complaints, even though we learn a lot from Kevin and his staff, but the actual calls that come in of people that have grass that's over 8 inches in length, which is a violation, and we go out and we take pictures or we try to reach people. There's a residence on the south end of town that's actually has 21 acres of land. And if they're over a certain amount of acres, it doesn't apply. However, the family that bought the 21 acres, there was for no better term, a rider on the sale of the property that required them to cut a strip of land, which is where the watershed goes through from the homes that are up at the top. I'm sure Harry knows this story. So finally, I was able to hunt down the gentleman that owns the property, and he said, I don't remember signing anything like that. So I forwarded him the copy of basically of the document that he signed, and he said, well, unfortunately, I'm going out of town this week. I'll be back in 6 days, and he's promised to cut the portion that he has to cut. He doesn't have to cut the entire 21 acres or 12 acres. He just has to
cut the area where the water flows from the homes above. That way, those homes don't get flooded and whatever, so I did not know that, I've been doing this at Lyle as well, and I did not know there was ever such. I don't think there is a 21 acre lot in Lyle, so it doesn't, but, glasses, I am working on a digital copy of our cemetery. All of our lots are on paper. And, they're in a fireproof safe and stuff like that, but there's no way, if you wanna know where Mr. Smith is buried, he's gotta try to figure it out and find it, or look on a board that we've got everybody's names. This way, once I'm done with the database, we'll be able to search and tell loved ones where they are. And what really kind of got me to this was, one of our, state people actually wanted to put, flags out on, veterans, and I couldn't tell her where they all were, and so, there was something we weren't able to do. Passport training will be starting in September. Myself and Angel, definitely. Michael has to take a little bit of a training as the director of the building. So probably October or November, we will be open for passports. Voicemail dial-ins. Vonage is our carrier, Mike Ergoni. I spoke with him today. And he's going to look into it tomorrow and then give me a call, but with Vonage voicemail, the login should see your voicemail that's been transcribed. So that's,
Go to email.
yeah, you have to go to email and then you should see it transcribed. You won't ever get an actual, hi, this is, Bill Green calling you, on my voice, you'll see it transcribed. So that's, what we did today. Other than that, that's about it. All right, thank you, Bill. Questions? And I printed this today. It took a while.
You broke the budget. For toner and paper.
Toner cartridge.
Paper's so expensive.
Next up is Assessor Katzberg, who said she had no report and would not be in attendance. Highway Commissioner Harry Minton.
So I'll go back into public comments from last month. Vince Clark raised an issue about, Quebec. And we agreed on a solution that night. Went back, he talked to some other residents in the neighborhood to try to find out what their appetite for that solution was. And everybody was in agreement. We were gonna go in there, we're gonna clear that in the fall. And we're gonna do a natural pollinator, so we don't have to consistently cut it, but it should be a nice addition to that corner.
Very cool.
And then for Brenda, you raised the issue about the speed signs and spoke to Naperville. Naperville said we had to talk to Pulte. They eventually want to lower the speed limit. So after speaking with Naperville, I reached out to Pulte. I'm waiting for Pulte to reach back out on that one. We're working on Wolf's Crossing pedestrian path, phase 1. I had a conversation with the Will County Forest Preserve on that one. We're working through that. We have a resident where it's gonna get really dicey, where it has to go through her backyard and she has to surrender some of the land. Super easy to deal with. So we're pretty excited about that one. Eventually, we're gonna have that full connectivity of the pedestrian path along Wolf's Crossing. Because anybody that's on Wolf's Crossing knows that Wolf's Crossing is not safe.
No,
So.
crazy.
Working on an ordinance that was brought up by a resident and business owners over on Industrial Drive and Wolf Creek Industrial Park. There's a lot of trucks that are parking on both sides of the street. We are working on the ordinance to adopt that and then send that over to Will County so they adopt it. So Will County sheriffs can enforce that there's only parking on one side of the street. So they're having a lot of issues with semis. The semi businesses are just lining up the streets. So we're working on that one. Right now, we're working in Wheatland Industrial Park, doing some stormwater, doing some improvements. That one is a very expensive project, but we were able to get a $25,000 stormwater grant. to offset some of those costs.
Nice.
So that one's gonna be a good project when it's all said and done. The vacant property where the family was murdered overseas, I've kind of been keeping an eye on that one. I don't know who's cutting it, somebody's cutting it. Because if it gets long, then we're gonna send somebody out there, but every time I've gone out there, it looks like it's cut. So I don't know who, but if you're listening, thank you. Let's see, what else do we have? We got Max Stein, that was our seasonal employee. His brother ended up working for us this year. He just finished up his internship at the Will County Emergency Management Agency, so proud of him. Just want to put that on record. He's gonna be doing some really good things. So glad that he was able to do that program, because that's what the field that he wants to get into. Still speaking with, we're getting additional quotes for the trucks. We have gone through Sourcewell, and then from Sourcewell, I'm also getting 2 quotes from 2 other dealerships to make sure that we have 3 quotes before we end up doing that. Again, that as a refresher, we are working to get a F-350 for Kevin with a heavy front end, so you put a plow on that. And then we are replacing my truck because it's been beat up pretty good. So it's more than likely gonna start costing more than it's actually worth, so we're trading that in. That is offset by recouped funds that we ended up getting, so that is not gonna cost anything additional in the budget. We lost Eric. Eric left us on staff. He ended up taking the highway foreman position over at Plainfield Township to fill the vacancy, which is actually a blessing in disguise because he's good at what he does, and we do a lot of intergovernmental agreement work, so it's nice to have somebody that knows what they're doing over there, because it's gonna make both of our lives easier between Plainfield and Wheatland. We did interview somebody that is previously or currently working at another township, has the background in it, also has a CDL currently, so it's gonna be a pretty seamless transition. Bringing him on, he's gonna be starting later on this month. And I think that's it.
Not too much.
No,
I'm kidding.
Carolyn's been awesome, taking care of a lot of the calls, the emails, things coming in, staying on top of it. Kevin and the crew, you know, kudos to them. They're working with one man down, and they're still working on these big projects and staying on task, staying on time. So we're looking forward to bringing on the other employee at the end of the month, because that's gonna fill the void there, but they've been doing a great job, and we've been hearing good things about it, so.
Lots of really good storm work too.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we
get comments from people all the time.
yeah. And kudos to our vendors too, our contractors that come in and do the restoration of the driveways and asphalt. They're doing a really good job. We're not getting a lot of complaints. Even some of the landscape restoration, with the exception of one particular individual, we haven't had any complaints on the restoration, but we are putting roughly, like my report last month, roughly anywhere from 4,500 to 6,000 linear feet of pipe in every year. So I think that's gonna be increased with some of these major projects that we're doing in the industrial parks, but pipe is very expensive. Just so you know. We save every linear foot and figure out what it's gonna be, because it's so expensive. But we just dropped off about 2 bunks of pipe just to do this one project.
Is that because it comes overseas or from overseas or?
I just think it's expensive. I think I don't know if they've got the market cornered and they know that we need it, so it's just expensive, but the density of the pipe, I don't know, just like everything else, the supply chain has gone up. I think a lot of our pipe is domestically made though.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
yeah. I guess I've just always assumed that the pipe's expensive. Maybe I should ask our why the pipe is so expensive.
Yeah.
Last couple of years.
Yeah, between that, the culverts, all of the precast work, I mean, it's expensive, the corrugated is expensive. I mean. All the supply chain stuff has gotten more and more expensive, all the consumables along with labor costs, but. Trying to make it work. 1 grant at a time.
Any questions for Harry before we move on?
Do you mind if I go out of order?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So we just had one grave sale. We have a burial occurring on Saturday. I'm transitioning things over to Jim, met with him a couple times, great guy. I am likely moving out of the township in October. Mid-October, I think, is when they're giving me as a closing date. So at some point, you'll be getting a resignation from me, but
Okay.
I'll make sure that everything is, transitioned over to Jim, and of course, I'll be available for questions and that sort of thing. As things happen, but. A lot of you I had met, and I did not get to say congratulations. So welcome to the board, even though, I haven't been around. I do some acting on the side and just finished up a show in Wheaton. So that's why I haven't been around, but congratulations, welcome, looking forward to working with you at least for another month. But anyway, thanks for taking me out of order, appreciate it.
Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks.
going?
Bye.
Trustee Mary Francis.
Yes, so thanks to Angel for his help. We have the application form for the Environmental Advisory Committee. And that will be going live on our website tomorrow. So we'll be taking applications. We're looking for ideally 5 to 7 people to meet quarterly and in between, work on projects related to improving the environment and addressing issues in the township. So excited to get that going.
Awesome. I'll make sure we also post it on our Facebook group.
Thank
Once the
you.
link is live.
Appreciate that.
Any questions for Mary?
You also have a senior citizen
Yes.
committee.
Yeah, we got several in there for you guys.
Any other things for me?
Nope.
I just gotta catch the kids before they go to bed.
There you
It's
go.
the first day of school and
Yeah.
it's my little guy's first day at kindergarten, so.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. $10,000 raise, daycare, we're really excited about this.
Yes. Can't wait for my final one to go to kindergarten.
Yeah,
That's true.
10 grand, well, we still gotta pay for the summer program, which that's $3,000 for 2 kids.
Childcare is wild.
It is.
That's what my wife
They
said. They gotta get money.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Harry.
Take care.
Trustee Glowiak.
So my report's fairly similar to trustee Francis. Had a really thoughtful meeting with Angel a couple weeks ago here. Got an update in terms of had that grant submitted over to the state, so waiting the results of that to see how much money we'll get, hopefully a good amount with that. Discuss a little bit further some of the mental health money is allocated by the actual county, so it looks like we will have some funds to be able to work with. But really need to see what this whole picture is gonna be like, figure out what the grant is, and we can really get into action. But we did discuss the application form. I see the other applications are together. We still have to update the one for the mental health group, because I want certain categories in there, like degree, license, credential, different types of stuff that'll vary from what we have in the other applications. I also want to have a thoughtful description to be able to put on the website, and I was pretty happy with that, with the website builder gentleman who was on there, said that they could embed, telemental health platform into that. And I'm glad they didn't try to put smoke up our rear and say, oh yeah, we can just build it right here. Cause I knew we couldn't, and I was glad that he answered it the right way. So that's why I said that's a very thoughtful response, sir, because there's a lot that goes into that. So I felt good with that response there. But yeah, similar to the other committee, we're gonna be looking for 5 to 7 members. I do have some people in mind for that to start reaching out to, so. Yeah, I think we're gonna be soon, though, start moving forward to it, and like we discussed before, a big part of the mental health plan agenda that we were trying to do was tied into the pace and having transportation, so, we can bring people over to have sessions, it'll be great to get the telemental health piece, so things are gradually coming together, so that's where we're at for now.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions from Matt before we move on? All right,
Thank
trustee
you
Jeff,
very much for your help.
Jeff Flavin.
I have no reporting.
You went to the Will County Governmental League event, didn't you?
I did go to a Will County
Yeah.
Governmental League golf event. I was with my company, obviously, but I did make announcements as
There you go.
now trustees.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
He's the one of the Wheatland.
Good. Trustee Margaret Tyson.
Thank you. The senior committee is meeting on August the 20th, which is a Wednesday, and we're not gonna have a speaker this month, but we will be playing bingo, and we also did a survey last month on what they're interested in.
Mhm.
So I put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and we also have a birthday list, so that we can celebrate everybody's birthday every month, you know,
Awesome.
make everybody feel special. So the bus component is gonna be really, really nice, cause I like to go,
Mhm.
and I think there's a lot of other seniors, right, Bonnie? That like to go. So we're gonna utilize the buses. And we're serving we're catering from Panda Express for our luncheon.
The next, one next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
that concludes my report.
All right, any questions for Margaret?
Hold on.
Thank you, Margaret. Clerk Terry Jones.
And one FOIA request and it's been closed.
All right. Any questions? All right. We already heard from tax collector Scriven Young. As far as my report, had lots of meetings in recent months. Have met with actually went with our future tax collector as well as with Senior Administrator Bill Green to meet with the fire chief of the city of Naperville. Just kind of discussing some of the mental health initiatives that he's got going on and ways that we can partner and utilize some of the resources that they're making available. Had coincidentally a similar conversation with Naperville Police. I think a week or two prior to that. One of the things that they put on our radar is what they're calling their Blue Envelope program. So essentially what that program does is for individuals on the spectrum, it gives them a place to put all of their vehicle documents so that when a police officer comes to, if they pull them over, if there's an incident, they can give them that envelope. All of their documents are contained. They don't have to worry and get concerned about where the documents are in the car. But not only that, it has instructions for the police officer to be aware that, hey, this individual's on the spectrum, just please be mindful of shining lights. They may be nervous. Fidgety does not mean guilty. It just kind of helps to educate them. So they are going to be getting their training on that program this fall. They've already left the envelopes here. It's not yet a live program, but it will go live this fall. So we will be a pickup location for those envelopes for folks who want to keep that in their vehicles.
Nice.
And then two other things. It also has information for the driver on there to say, do not be nervous. And these are the kinds of things to just be mindful of when you're interacting with an officer. These are the questions you ask before you make sure you're able to be dismissed. And then it also has emergency contact information on there. Should, things escalate and the officer need to call a family or close friend. So happy to be site for that for Naperville Police. I've just always maintaining relationships and networking with other townships to see what is working well. Will County went to meet with them as well with regards to PACE transportation, actually. So what's gonna happen is effective, I believe, December 1, going into the next fiscal year. Any rides that we have are, we all pay for PACE on a monthly basis for individuals to get to medical, grocery store, whatever it may be. Any ride that originates and ends in Will County will now actually be covered by the county. So that will take some expense off of us, which is fantastic. And I'm actually also advocating for them to add some locations within the city of Naperville, particularly for our folks who receive medical care on the DuPage County side of Naperville. They said that should be something that they can accommodate. So what I'm going to be doing is downloading a list of our most frequent rides. And sending those over to the county so that they can make sure that they incorporate that into their billing structure. But again, nothing changes on our end. Our residents don't actually have to do anything. What they're gonna do is essentially they'll take our rider list, they'll upload it and add it to the Will County server as well. And so on the PACE side, when they are receiving those phone calls to schedule a ride, they'll be able to see the originating point and end point, and then they'll be able to properly allocate those expenses. So it's not gonna take all of our expenses. We have people who go all over the place, but it should take a pretty decent amount, so I'm very excited about that. It'll be a great cost savings. A couple of other things to put on your radar. We should be in the next couple of months, we'll likely be discussing renewal for our commercial insurance programs, our property casualty and program. And then electrical aggregation will be coming up in the next couple of months as well, if that's a program that everybody's interested in continuing. And then final note here is that with one of the grants that we submitted to the county, they are still kind of in the evaluation phase of that, but we're actively working and trying to advocate to make sure that we get our fair share of dollars from the county to be able to service the Wheatland Township area. And that concludes my report. Any questions before we conclude?
So the electrical aggregation, what needs to be done with that?
So what will happen is, one, we will decide whether we want that to even continue for the township. And then two, we would be responsible for selecting the vendor who locks in the contract and the contracted rate.
Okay.
So generally what's gonna happen, we'll get probably 3 or 4 vendors and their pricing, and their contracts will typically range anywhere from 1 to 3 years. And then we as a board will decide if we want to pursue any of those contracts. There have been times where we didn't like the pricing and we decided to, to postpone for 2 months and pricing improved. I know right now our electric rate is a lot lower than anybody who is not on the aggregation program, especially after ComEd had their raises in June.
Yeah.
So I expect our costs will also go up, but we'll be able to hopefully find something competitive. And if not, it's not something that we have to continue doing.
Sure.
Okay. Any further questions before we conclude? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? A second. I'll do this by voice call. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Meeting is concluding at 9:01 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Last year, too. Nobody expects that.
So.
Who's supposed to go?
We got some bills there.
So this guy here, he owns. Angel, I have a question.
I'll update.